Hello and welcome to another episode of Page Burners. I almost said speculative speculations. I have been away for a while, but this is a series where we work our way through the Malazan books, all the books by both authors. We're currently on Memories of Ice and we're doing them in publication order. We read approximately 100 or so pages every week. Um, from some edition of the book, typically the one that has the longest page count. Today, we're going to be discussing chapters 22 and 23 of Memories of Ice. Just a quick note about upcoming schedule for this podcast. We will be discussing just chapter 24 next week, and then 25 and the epilogue the week after that. And then we'll do a full series spoiler discussion like we did for Dead House Gates. And then the book after this, because we're reading them in publication order, is going to be Blood Follows, which is from a novella from the Bokelane and Corbel series. And after that, we'll take a few weeks off and come back to House of Chains. We won't be reading any Esselmont yet because, again, publication order. The first Esselmont book will be after Midnight Tides. With me, of course, we have the usual group of friends who will go around introducing themselves, also talk about what they're most excited to discuss from this week's chapters. Mirka, could you start us off?
Hello everyone, I'm Mirka. I have read this specific book before and I'm loving that we are getting closer to the grand finale, but not quite there yet. Out of these two chapters, I want to talk about the shadow and the shadow throne, and I think we've had some revelations there. And I wanted to discuss that to see if my understanding is aligned with your guys' understanding.
Sounds good. That reminds me of what I wanted to talk about, everything about Dragnipur that we learned this time, I think. Which I think is tied to what you said about Shadow, but
I think so, yeah.
yeah. Go ahead,
That was
Shannon.
cool stuff.
Yeah.
Hello, my name's Shannon, and I think I'm most interested to talk about probably after what you guys mentioned. Maybe a lot of the stuff we learned about the Bargast and the Twist and the Moranth. We kind of found in the Tist Eater, just all the history between these two people. You wanna go, Dan?
Sure. I'm Dan. I've read this book a couple of times, but I remember almost nothing because I thought this book was longer or something. Unless the whole siege happens in the next two chapters, which I don't think so. Anyways, I guess the thing I would most talk about is maybe like the whole strategy of the two armies going there and what happened, just because I'm not sure I follow exactly what's going on with all the different tactics and coordination and stuff like that. So hopefully we can figure it out together. Carl?
Yeah, I am the usurper who has been usurped by the rightful adjunct again.
I'm not
Carl,
a usurper, God. I'm.
Well, I mean, you could maybe usurp the usurper. I don't know. You know,
Okay,
is it
fine.
usurpation at that point? Debatable.
That's a very.
You know, it kind of feels like a Lion King moment. And I am Scar, obviously, in this metaphor. Anyway, I am most excited to talk about. I was gonna say the curled Ghislaine stuff, but since Mirka already said that, I think I'll go with uh, my favorite couple in this series.
Yes.
The greatest couple of all time, Krupp and Hitan.
No!
You know,
That's
Yes.
not
Oh,
couple.
even better. You didn't know that was coming.
apparently, I wasn't here last week, and Mirka, you weren't here too. And apparently, all they did was shit on Whiskey Jack and Corlat while we weren't there.
Come on.
Damn it,
You
Carl.
didn't.
Haters, you know, just live forever. I don't know what to tell you.
Haters are gonna hate. Yeah.
It's true. All right, Steve.
I'm Steve from Page Chewing, and if Krupp doesn't have. If Krupp has no haters, it's because I'm dead. And Krupp and the greatest should not be used in the same sentence. But I am most excited to talk about whether or not soldiers should think for themselves or just follow orders.
Good
And I'm
point.
Glad you brought something meaty to this. That's that's an interesting topic, and that was a fun conversation.
I've actually been thinking about that, and I'm glad that Dan, you brought up movements, and because when I read all the movements and armies moving, my eyes glaze over, and I'm completely lost.
Me too.
So you're not alone.
Couldn't tell you what they were talking about. I definitely kind of zoned out in that part.
Yeah, I also didn't understand why, unless I guess there is one motivation, but I don't know that it's true or if it's in their minds and we're just given to assume that the Malazan people just kind of want to conquer Coral and that's why they're going ahead maybe, but it seems to be to the detriment of everybody involved. Unless it relies on what good intentions like we say with software engineering. So I don't know, I didn't fully understand too.
Yeah, I just don't understand why, because it seems like they do need, like, the other half of it, their allies' army, right? They can't do it on their own.
Yeah.
So I'm unsure why they basically forced them to, like, be so quick instead of, like, why not just message them earlier instead of putting them in that position? Like, maybe with a crow or something like that, like, let them know, we think we need to get there quickly. Let's coordinate or something. It seemed very like, oh, they're doing their own thing, and then when they're together, like, well, I'm already doing this. You can follow me or not, but up to you. It's like, why can't you just ask before? I don't know. I'm not sure what the tactic is, I guess.
Yeah. The tactic both for the conquering of Coral and for the mutual vague lack of trust that they seem to have. Like what advantage are they trying to gain over the other army?
Yeah, by not saying it, by springing it on them, I guess. That's sort of what I was wondering.
But they also have spies and they are aware of said spies.
Yeah, true. But also, why? I think they said it. I just forgot it now. But why do they need to get there quickly so they can't build defenses, right? Because if they wait too long, then they're going to build too many defenses on Coral, and then it's going to be way harder, right? That's why.
I think, was it because of the tunnels? Like they somehow, I don't know how, but like they somehow found out that there are tunnels that have been dug and now are abandoned, and they could take them before like Panion Seer places his units there. But I don't know, like maybe the crone let them know about the tunnels.
Maybe they sent some scouts out with the Moranth earlier, and then they discovered them and were like, oh shit, there's this stuff, we need to be quick, maybe?
Maybe. And then, like, the seer didn't know that they would know about the tunnels, so, like, they would be free to take, as to speak, and then they would rush to take them first. Because that's how the chapter ends, right? Like, they're already in the tunnels, like, the first wave of bridge burners, and they're facing the upcoming enemy who realize that someone is in their tunnels.
But didn't the Malazans march swiftly even before that? They marched faster than they told the Kaladin Brood's army that they would. They didn't keep them informed of their speed or how they planned to get there. And I mean, it was probably mentioned there, and I'm mentioned somewhere. I'm missing it. I just don't know why they wanted to do that. Like, why the secrecy plus the urgency.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
well, the secrecy. I mean, the urgency I'm not certain about. But the secrecy is just because they don't trust each other, which has been a running theme throughout this book. Is that they are really bad at communicating, and because they're natural enemies. That's what they spent years, if not decades, fighting each other, and so they don't trust each other. And I think a lot of these characters too are naturally inclined to keep secrets. I mean, we've talked before about how Quickben will keep secrets even from his commander and his general. You know, he's just full of secrets, and it just seems like it's like just what they know to do. It's like all they know. It's like part of their personalities.
Yeah, but I don't see what the advantage is in this case. I don't know. It's like I'm saying, let's meet here for lunch at 6, and then I'm there at like 5:40, and I'm like, well, you should get here. Like, I'm already here. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
I guess if the person you were meeting for lunch was someone who you've like tried to kill before, and now you're like,
But then when I'm meeting, why am I meeting them for lunch? Sort of like, I need
That's a
them
good
there
question.
to do the thing. I don't
right?
know.
I mean,
Like, if I didn't need them, I was like, okay, I'll get there first, I'll do it on my own, and then I don't need him, I betray him or whatever, right? But because they need them there, that's the part I'm unsure.
But you can eat more food if you get there early.
I guess. Is that... What's the eating more food here? Is, I don't know, having more casualties?
I'm
conquering the
thinking-
city?
Yeah, the city. Like, they want to make it part of their empire, right? That was
Yeah.
hinted
well, they
at. But
deny
like,
that.
they deny that, but those are conversations we were privy to between rivals, and
Yeah.
we
But
don't
then
know
I-
what the
Yeah.
guy One Arm is actually planning.
But why don't
I'm
they take the
inclined-
city then? And then before they
Yeah.
arrive there, why do they need to tell them to arrive there quicker, right? I don't know.
It's certainly poor planning, one way or another. It's not a supreme leadership.
Maybe they get to say we were here first, dibs, when it's all over. I don't know.
Now,
I
there
did
must be a
find it
plan.
weird how in all these conversations, like when Whiskey Jack is talking to Humbral Tar, that he's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna leave you guys be. We'll let you trade with us, or like, you know, otherwise, you know, you can do whatever you want, and like just don't pick a fight with us. Like, what? And Humbral Tar doesn't believe him naturally. He's like, what sort of empire? Like, no. And Whiskey Jack, you know, gives this little spiel about how, you know, diversity leads to wisdom, which does feel very appropriate for the Malazans, but also they're a conquering empire. Like, I don't know if Whiskey Jack has just truly drunk the Kool-Aid or if he's talking out of his ass there. But that I thought was just such bullshit. I could not, like, come on. At the first opportunity, Lysine is going to want to conquer the Bargast.
wasn't his reasoning that like we will leave you alone because now you are with us, like because we have partnered on this thing, so now like we will honor that deal forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I understood it.
Yeah, but that's crap. I mean,
Yeah.
they made a deal, but that doesn't mean every emperor is going to continue
Yeah,
to honor
exactly.
that. I mean, look at real life.
100%.
That's not how it works. I had the same thought, Carl. I thought the point of this conversation was to echo back to when Dujak was telling Whiskey Jack that he should have been the next emperor and all this stuff because he was, and that's showing us that he's the man of honor and he would have been the perfect emperor. But yeah, well, the whole time I'm reading, I'm like, Lysine's not gonna follow any of this.
Exactly.
Like, what are you talking about, man?
Kellenved wouldn't.
So-
Like, it feels overly naive to me. Like, I mean, maybe Whiskey Jack's just like, I'm out of the game. I mean, I guess he has, like, he drank the Kool-Aid and he fully believes the propaganda.
But do we
That's just like the only
know?
explanation I can think of, because the empire itself is not. That's just not how empires function, and it's not how the Malazan Empire has ever functioned. Like, it's a relative, historical rarity that we have as much peace throughout the world, and obviously there are still wars going on and conquering and shit. But like,
yeah, and just in this world, I mean, Malazan has invaded, I think, no more or less than at least 4 different continents. I mean, you're telling me these are the people that are believe in diversity and that's
Yeah.
all they really want?
I mean,
But good for him for
No, but
believing it. I wish what he said was true, but
Right. It's
I
a
don't
nice
believe it.
idea. Yeah, no.
okay, so
What were you gonna
some
say, Barsha?
counter arguments. One, I don't think he was quite saying diversity is all they want. He was, like Mirka pointed out earlier, saying that we have an alliance now and we're going to honor that in some way. And I guess one of the ways is we'll try not to conquer you. And secondly, I don't know if you both have extra information from reading the Esselmont books, but I don't feel like we know enough about either Kellenwood or Lassine to say whether or not they would honor this gentleman's agreement that Whiskey Jack is making with Humbrildor.
Fair enough. I think that's an assumption, at least on my part.
Because I mean, we see this a little bit in Dead House Gates too, right? Sure, that there is the rebellion, but a lot of the people are kind of happy with it. Like with what was I going to say? I was going to make a stupid Last Airbender reference. Never mind that. But no, okay, so I'll say it anyway, even though it doesn't maybe matter. They travel all over the world, right? That the Fire Nation has apparently conquered, but we don't really see many people unhappy with the rule of the Fire Nation. We just are taking their word for it, that the Fire Lord is evil and whatnot. But I'll shut up, because that's neither here nor there.
That's also not accurate to the show.
What?
People are unhappy all the time because they get conquered. That's like the entire story of the show, Barsha.
No, but we don't see unhappy people. We don't see them living in squalor or being unhappy about, like, which is, this evil guy who wants to bring a comment. Anyway, I'll shut up.
They got conquered for their own good. I mean, I think that's literally what the Malazan propaganda is. Because if you think about it, like the Wiccans, like the Seven Cities, like here, what the Malazan soldiers, Malazan people seem to say a lot of the time, it's kind of like, we bring order, we're gonna conquer you to make sure that then there's peace, I guess. Like the Wiccans, basically that's what they do. That's what the Wiccans said that the Malazan did for them, I guess, right? And
yeah,
then
but
it
they're
seems
not
like,
brainwashed.
They were happy about
they
it.
believe
I mean,
that,
not happy, but like they did not complain. They were respectful of the Malazan Empire, I
I
think.
think that's the point of view, I guess, like of the Malazan. They're like, well, we're gonna conquer everything and we're gonna put order and nobody's gonna fight each other anymore because we conquered everything. That seems to be
and they're really
their
good
approach.
at selling that idea to the people who it's being done to. Yeah.
So,
It's kind of like
Except the Darus. I mean,
Yeah.
the Darus fought back and they won.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess the argument here is that like they're going to abide by this agreement, right? And I think that may be true for some period of time, because first of all, often these like kind of peace treaties are for a certain set period of time and not like indefinite. But second of all, I think like Shannon said, all it takes is a different emperor. Like even if Lassine is like, okay, we'll I'll keep this treaty intact, I won't break it. It takes the next person or the one after that. It just takes one nut job to decide, yeah, the Bargast, they're gonna fall under our sway now. Because, they're warmongering savages and we need to bring peace to them.
but that's fair. But I also like what Shannon said about this would have been maybe how Whiskey Jack would have dealt with the thing. So maybe this is, and I guess I'm agreeing with you a little bit, Carl, that like this is the spirit of the empire that Whiskey Jack believes in, and that must have come from somewhere. If not Lassine, at least Kellenwood and his people must have let him believe that, because he's been part of this empire for a long time, and he's not one to just be whitewashed and giving in to propaganda. At least it doesn't seem to me from the way his character is set up in this book.
I don't know that I agree with that. He was born and raised in the Empire, wasn't he? Like he wasn't one of the conquered people like Quickben and Kalam and I think even Fiddler. Like I think he was born and raised. And
Mallet City, I believe.
Yeah, right. And I genuinely think he's brainwashed. Like the more I think about this, the more I think he just eats up the propaganda. Because you could say like, okay, what insight do we have into these like characters' personalities? But like the number one most important insight we have into all of this is that the Malazan Empire continues to expand.
Mm-hmm.
It never stopped. It continued like nonstop because that's what empires do, right? Like often, like it's just like the nature of the beast. And sometimes there are pauses, sometimes there are contractions. I mean, history is not linear, but like I just I do think he's just fully brainwashed. And it's interesting now that I'm like really thinking about it, that you have this character who we do think of as like very noble and honorable, as this Ned Stark figure who fully believes the Malazan Empire is this noble end to everything.
So,
And
do you believe that Whiskey Jack and Dujac are rushing to Coral to take it for the Malazan Empire?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I'm just trying to get back to the original question we had, but I guess you're more talking about like Whiskey Jack's overall motives for being a soldier and just acting the way he does.
I mean, I don't know if it's brainwashing, though. Like, it's just, I don't know. I like to think of the Malazan Empire like the Roman Empire, sort of. I think it's a mix of the Roman Empire with like the American sort of army structure sort of thing. But like, you could argue that like the people that the Roman Empire conquered had a very long period, like in France and Spain and Italy, very long periods of peace that they've never had before in order, right? Until everything fell down, and all the civil wars. But they had like hundreds of years of peace. I guess they didn't get a choice because they got conquered, but you could argue that. So I think that's what, I don't know, the Malazan point of view is.
No, and that's a legitimate argument too, right? Is like you have the the so-called Pax Romana, the Pax Malazan, I guess is the equivalent. Like that's, I mean, clearly that's like a thing to some degree, right? Because again, the Wiccans say that, and as people who were like recently conquered, like they would know better than anyone. But it's not. I mean, then you all have the counter argument, which is, I guess, the rebellion that like conquest. It's to some degree you're inviting that sort of violent rebellion. And at the same time, you also have massacres that go on. Whole classes of people just like wiped out overnight during the so-called peace. So, I don't think it's a black and white issue. I would agree, and I certainly don't think Whiskey Jack views what they're doing as conquest. Dujac, I don't know. I do get the sense that Dujac is a little more morally gray, which isn't something that I remember from my first read. But I kind of at times, like, I think he's pretty honorable, but like I think he's a little more like, yeah, we should conquer people. And like the way he talks about the Empire, even conversations he's had with Whiskey Jack, it's definitely come across that way. So I wouldn't be shocked if he was in the back of his head like, we have a chance to take Coral. Although maybe it's a bad idea because that means we'll immediately have to fight Kaladin Brood and the Bargast and all the people, but I wouldn't be shocked if that was in the back of his mind. Whiskey Jack, though, I don't think so.
So I have a question for you then. If Whiskey Jack doesn't see it as conquest, does he just see it as following orders? And if so, which is worse?
Well, I think they see themselves as liberating them from an empire, ironically. And admittedly an empire that's like undoubtedly evil.
Well, not just an empire. I mean, I think Seven Cities would probably, because remember, the Bridge Burners were born in Seven Cities. And so look at Seven Cities. You have this place that supposedly was awful, full of just tribes killing each other, being awful. And the Malazans came in and they brought order. And certainly from Whiskey Jack's point of view, I think they left that place a lot better. So I think that kind of is what he thinks they're doing. It's not that they're just conquering; it's that they're bringing order. They're bringing, the whole diversity thing he brings up, the diversity of ideas that make us wiser, that make us richer. However, all of that, I did want to come back to you, Steve, because I thought this really ties perfectly into what you were asking about the Malazan soldiers, because you can see how, from this point of view, that Wizkid could make this statement that Malazan soldiers are the best army in the world because they think for themselves. So what did you want to talk about with that, Steve? Because I thought that was a amazing statement that I don't agree with at all.
You don't agree that they should think for themselves, or?
Well, I don't think I agree that that is what makes them the greatest army in the world, because like that's inviting chaos. Like that's saying that, all of our soldiers think for themselves and we're the best. That's, to me, it sounds like, well, then you're lucky, because all it takes is some bad people with this power, some bad soldiers to ruin the whole thing.
Yeah, well, if you have an organized, so if you have a command or someone who is planning everything behind the scenes, and that's their job, and you have this control structure of, this leadership of, deciding what moves to make strategically from a perspective of this like big picture perspective and not single battle perspective. I would imagine that you wouldn't want a single platoon to kind of go rogue and decide what's best for them in that moment, when you have kind of but they don't have the whole picture. They don't know exactly what's planned. So is it a good thing that they would think for themselves in that moment? Because is it just self-preservation? Is it misguided? So I think that's what's interesting about that is that really a good thing, or is it a bad thing? Because if you put yourself in a position of being a leader and putting all the work and time into strategy and battle, the whole plan, and then you have an army, one of your groups go do something completely different, it can turn the tide, or you can lose you a war. So I think it's interesting just to discuss. I don't know the answer. I just think it's a fun talking point.
I think there's two ways to approach the question you're asking. There's the one which is like just the historical logistical thing, which is like, okay, actually historically there used to be a lot of leeway to what the local commanders had, leeway to do, just because the general would not be able to communicate with everyone, especially in a battle or in these situations, especially in ancient and medieval times, because they don't have communication methods apart from a guy walking there and telling him that. So a lot of commanders, a lot of the time, also they're their own, like if we were thinking medieval times, they're their own baron or count or lord. They have their own priorities and they have their own command over their own soldiers. Like they only own fealty to their king, but their soldiers own fealty to them, not to the king, which is a very different distinction than what happened in the Roman Empire and stuff like that, which is more organized, in which in theory you own fealty to the central government. But in those cases, like you have a lot of leeway of deciding what the best way of approaching the current situation is, right? And then we went to the pre-modern, modern period in which we have radio, we have telegraph, we have a lot of better communication methods. And now, like the micromanaging style of like the commander tells everyone what to do, then it's finally possible. So we get the World War I and early World War II and stuff like that. And now, current modern warfare is more like we're going back to sort of like, because we have each soldier is a lot more highly trained than before, and each commander, local commander, a lot more highly trained. So they're better able to give snap decisions in the moment instead of having to call back their superiors to add confirmation. So right now, like the American army, for example, gives a lot more ability to their own soldiers and lieutenants or whatever. I don't know the army structure to be like make the best decision on the ground because you know what's happening right now and you're the expert in the moment of that thing. So that is interesting because this comment of like the soldiers follow orders is very like in the middle of this period in which you actually get all these commands of doing exactly that thing. And then there's also the moral thing of like, should a soldier just do what, like, because we go back to World War II, like, should a soldier have done all the atrocities as a lot of these armies did, right? And the current answer is no. Like a soldier has the ability to refuse a command that goes against the basic human principles of decency and stuff like that. That's what current militaries in America, Canada, Europe say. I don't know of other ones. So it's kind of gone a bit back. So if you get an order of like kill these civilians, you're not going to do it. Like that's what the training tells you not to do. Obviously, people still do it because I'm not going to say that they don't do it. I'm just saying that they tell you not to do it in the training. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't get the sense the Malazans do that though. Like I mean I do feel like there's more room for like free thinking and different ideas, more of an exchange of ideas than there is in a lot of other militaries in this world. I mean, certainly like compared to the Panion Domain, for example, where it's just a horde. But I also think it's maybe like it's easy to maybe exaggerate how much leeway they're given. Like if they're given an order, like most of the time they're going to follow the order, including if it's like, the Bridge Burners last book were this close to blowing up the city of Darujistan. And the only reason they didn't is because they realized they were going to blow up everyone, including themselves. And so and we're supposed to view them as relatively moral. I don't know that it's like they're quite as. I think it's relative, and I do think that the relatively freer exchange of ideas probably does mean that they're more adaptable, smarter, more innovative, more inventive. But I don't know that it's like, I don't think this is a black and white, free or
That's
unfree.
definitely how the book describes it, like that the Malazans were progressive in their way of thinking, which, as Dan was saying, in that time it was very typical to follow the orders and like just like almost blindly do what your commander says. And I don't think that the Malazan way of thinking described in the books is meant to mean that the soldiers can do whatever they want. I think it's that kind of feeding the information from the field up to the command, challenge the commanders, like commanders listening to their troops, or like kind of, just being a good leader in like any field, not just military, just like listen to the feedback of the people that you lead and react to that. And I think, that's why at least like that was my impression about the Malazan Empire. That's why it was so successful, because they were doing that, and they allowed the people who had that natural instinct and like the way of thinking that would lead to success. They let them become commanders, even if they were not born to it, or all the things about like how nobility shouldn't be given more opportunities than anybody else, which ultimately didn't go that well. And that's why Lassine ordered the what's the word?
Purge?
The cowl of the mobility, right? She ordered to just get rid of the noble people in military and in high positions, because she saw that it was damaging the empire, that like she wanted to go back to what Kalnvat had established previously, and maybe that's a testament of like that it was like even Lassine who took over the throne and get rid of Kalnvat, she agreed with his approach and like the way that they set up the army and the way that they allowed soldiers to think and not just blindly follow orders.
Yeah, we were just very flexible, right? That seems to be the thing we're taught. Like the empire is just seems to be flexible in general and adapting to the different people they conquer and trying to get the good ideas, I guess, from them.
Yeah, I mean that absolutely. I think is really the root of their success is that kind of a level of open-mindedness, and you know, I mean, in terms of the culling of the nobility, I think that's. I mean, not even getting into the morality of it. I think that is as much like a. Lysine seems to act out of a lot of fear, like she seems to do a lot of like commit a lot of actions because she's afraid someone is going to come for her, and then that kind of sometimes leads to, you know, boulders rolling downhill and crushing problems. But I don't know. I mean, I think that that like open-mindedness, that progressive-mindedness is like, and that flexibility is kind of the root of their success, the Malazans. But I also feel like it's maybe a little overstated, partially because the bridge burners I think are exceptions to even within the Malazan military. Like that's how they're treated. That's part of the reason they were outlawed, is because they're like relatively unique in how they approach command, and you know they're not just command, but the infantry themselves in conquest.
It's just hard to be on the side of the Empire, I guess. It'll be like, you know, very good guys. You know, just feels a bit wrong.
Well, I mean, good guy is relative here, right? Like again, in book one, they were. I definitely wouldn't call them the good guys, and they actively caused all the problems. Book two, in a way, they kind of also caught. I mean, like the rebellion only got as bad as it did because they were there and they conquered everyone, you know. And it's not like the people they conquered were all like super nice, but here is the only time or the first time where I think it's like a genuinely like black and white, like the Malazans are the good guys here.
And that's because they're thrown up against literal cannibals.
Yeah.
Right. The
not
zombie
I think
zombies.
if you ask everyone that read the book who the good guys of these books are, I think more people will say the Malazan than not. That's what I'm saying. I think because they're the protagonists, basically, because we see most of the things from a perspective, I think most people will say that they're the good guys.
I agree, Dan, and I think it's because it's who we're rooting for. It's the characters that we're rooting for. You know, it's the ones we spend most time with, the ones we're taught to sympathize with and care about. And that's why you would call them the protagonists.
If you were to ask people how they feel about Lysine, I think the majority of readers do not like Lysine. And I mean, who is she if not the Empire? And obviously, I think in a literal way, like obviously it's bigger than just her. But I feel like that is oversimplifying a complex. I agree with you that people look for heroes to latch onto, and because oftentimes they're our point of view, and also because often they're the ones doing the heroic actions, people would say the Malazans are good. But I think there's a difference between that kind of knee-jerk reaction and like the moral questions posed in the series. And I think Memories of Ice is unique in that it is a relatively black and white story.
I agree with you. I just think that not everyone will think about it and go more.
I agree with that too. Yeah, people won't think about it.
I think Lysine people, I think what people think about Lysine is like, oh, I wish someone saved the Empire from Lysine, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like she's a cancer at destroying this Empire, which is our hero, sort of. Kind of. You know?
Well, you know, be careful what you ask for.
Another reason why I think we tend to think about Malazans as the good guys is that, at least seemingly, they drop their military efforts for the greater good. At least, like, often that happens. Like, even in this book, you know, they kind of grouped up with their enemy in order to defeat a larger enemy. And maybe there were some like strategic reasons behind that, but like we don't know that, right? Like it seems like they are just like, trying to defeat the Penny and Seer. Same with the crippled god. I think later in the series, the ultimate goal will become do something about the crippled god and his growing influence, and what can we do. So I think like in that sense they are the good guys. Like the crippled god could ultimately destroy the world, right? So, and the Malazans are stepping up to kind of do something about that. So I don't feel bad for thinking they're the good guys.
No, I mean they definitely do a lot of heroic things. I mean that's for sure.
One thing I think this series does is Erikson's really good at is taking it down to the individual level, where we spend time with these guys, with the bridge burners, or with that was in book 2 we just one thing that I felt was frustrating is we didn't spend as much time with the rebellion. We didn't we didn't get to know the rebellion on a personal level. That's why they were kind of just like the villains. But I do think, especially as the series goes on, we spend more and more time with these individuals. And yeah, sometimes there's some good guys working for some real bad people, bad empires, bad whatever, or vice versa. But we'll get there.
Okay. I mean, talking about that, do we want to talk about, because it's sort of connected, like Talk the Younger and his thing? Because there's that Seer Domain also, which is similar situation, I guess. Like he's obviously serving a bad guy, and he seems to realize it, but he's kind of like, well, it's too late now, I think. But that's how I think he thinks. Right?
Or maybe he just saw what the matron was doing to talk, and he was like, this is too much. Like, even if this is an enemy, this shouldn't be done to anybody.
I think he already knows, because he says when he talks to talk, like, oh, my mother went with Theniskari, my dad never came back once he saw what happened, like, my village got basically cannibalized, right? I think that's when he said he's sort of like, I don't know, he's kind of, I think he feels like he's sort of dead from that point on. He's just, going through emotions, seems like. I don't know. Interesting character.
Yeah.
It was so nice of him to help, or try to help talk. I don't know if at this point he can be helped by someone like this soldier or commander or whoever that was.
Yeah.
I love that scene. I think it is great. That little like peek into providing even just a little bit of depth to the Panion Doman side is, I think, was much needed. And yeah, poor Talk. He definitely needs somebody to come save him.
Yeah. I mean, how many of the Seer Domain that got butchered in this book were like this guy? I don't know. Just saying.
Yeah. Who knows?
Dan, I'm real proud of you for, you went real deep with that Seer Domin part. I stayed very shallow, and I was just floored with the revelation here that Moonspawn was a Kachain Shamal creation.
Oh, yeah.
That got dropped here. Which I'm still kind of like wrapping my head around how do like dinosaurs with little sword arms build these things, but maybe they got robot hands. They don't all have sword arms.
Yeah,
but yeah, I thought that was really cool to find out that there's certainly more to the Kachain than we thought, or than we can't just think of them as fantasy dinosaurs. Like there's more to them.
I love that they're high tech. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
And magic, I guess. Like if they made mountain fortresses fly in the sky, it has to be magic, right? So they were not only like competent builders and technologically advanced, they also had magic and could use it to their advantage. So very advanced race.
My impression of that was, they're using science or machinery to harness magic, which I think is really cool. Like that's something that we don't see enough of, I
Magic
think, in
stuff.
fantasy books. It's just magic, but I like the idea of harnessing it and utilizing it like this.
What do you think are the powers that Anomander Rake doesn't know about Moonspawn that he's talking about?
Nukes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Sort of like a Death Star. That's what I was thinking.
I'm
Never
yeah,
mind.
I'm only half joking. I mean, I'm being slightly facetious, but also like it has to be something like that, right? Like,
It's a big laser.
yeah,
That's what I
exactly.
think. That's what I think.
That's what we need. We need the moon spawn Death Star to come in. That's no moon. Just start blasting cities.
That would be pretty fun.
All right, what's next? What? We haven't heard from you in a while, Varsha. What was it you wanted to talk about?
Oh, since we're talking about Rake, the thing that I wanted to talk about was the stuff inside the sword, where
Oh shit,
Paran
yeah.
meets Draconis again and gets a whole lecture about Kural Gulain. It was that the same scene, or am I mixing two other things up?
Yeah, I think so.
So Draconis says that Rake needs to kill a lot of people to feed this warren, and apparently there's a chaos storm coming. And what did it become clear to us? So all the way back in the prologue, Draconis says that he's added a twist to his creation. Do you think it has something to do with chaos? And I guess he did this to help darkness fight off chaos, but it removed the ability of darkness to migrate, and like whatever inherent ability it had to fight chaos is now gone, which I find immensely intriguing. There's probably a whole lot of interpretations we can make of that, maybe applying to the real world. But I think just as a magical concept, that's really cool too.
Yeah, it does sort of seem like a situation where he was trying to do something more. I don't know if moral is the right word, but like he wasn't trying to create this horrible, monstrous weapon that is really sort of self-defeating. And he didn't, it's hubris, right? Like he was playing with powers that he didn't fully understand, and he caused problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I did want to talk about it. I think it's great that our anthropologist Stephen Erikson brings in the idea of migration. Before houses that were holds there were these migrations where magic is just this power is just migrating around, and Draconis in his hubris thought he would harness that, and that's what led to, I think, what we can see now is just a great tragedy. Like it's pointless. Like what he did, he thought he was doing this great thing, but instead he's tortured, I don't know, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people for hundreds of thousands of years, dragging this wagon around for no reason whatsoever, and now he needs to undo it.
It is like, that's crazy. Your insight there that I had not considered is that he's sort of replicating like the evolution of like sapient society, I mean human society specifically, in through the magic system. I had not put that together before. That is wild.
I hadn't noticed it till this time, but that jumped out at me. I was like, oh, that's what he's doing here.
Wow. Erikson and Esselmont, hats off for that. That's so cool. The
Well,
metaphor there
I
is
think
like, wow.
It's one of those things that makes Malazan uniquely Malazan. Like, I can't think of anybody else that would do that. Like, here, let's have a magic system that migrates around like people. What?
And then eventually settles down, right?
And then settles down.
It gets more and more like rigid, less chaotic. Yeah, more exactly. That's crazy.
I know. I wonder what's gonna be after the houses. Like, I don't know, cities or something. I don't know.
Wow.
But yeah, I just love. Yeah, I thought, I don't know. Like all of it. I just thought it was wild when I read it. Marsha, what you were talking about here with this this hold of darkness being dragged around away from this whole, or what is it, a portal to chaos.
Shannon, can
All
you
right.
repeat what was your explanation as to why the sword was created?
Why was the
Or
sword created? Well, because Draconis said he was, the magic was going around, and he didn't understand at that point that it was a migration, and these were that there were patterns, and that it was fine. He thought that the hold of darkness was in danger of chaos, so he created Draconis. He created this thing with the idea of moving this portal to Harold. Is it Ghislaine? Yeah.
Mhm.
Because he was worried that the Chaos Warren was going to destroy it. But, and then what he was telling Perrin is that he didn't understand at that point that this was just migratory patterns and that it was never in danger. Like it was, if he had just let the universe take care of itself, it was fine. But he didn't understand that at that point. He thought he had to save it.
That's
It's
very
interesting.
cool. Yeah. Well done figuring it out, I guess. I think he mentioned like what was like his reason. He was worried that the darkness is getting weaker by creating light, creating shadow. And then he thought that chaos was gaining an advantage and was becoming stronger, and that the imbalance would eventually destroy the darkness, and the chaos would prevail, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's interesting that the person who seems to have been most successful at creating this balance is Karul. Like when you're talking the elder gods, like by creating the Warrens, he seemed to like create more order, although that didn't necessarily like. I mean, I don't know how strongly
did he
that
create
counteracted
the
chaos.
Warrens?
Yes.
Or was it like like it was?
Yeah.
Like he forged them. Okay, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's literally made out of his blood, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what?
I thought it was like a
Blood and
natural
bone.
thing. I don't know if it was like a forced thing that he made happen, or if it's just something that did happen naturally.
No, I mean they were natural as well. There were the elder Warrens that he forged his Warrens. I mean, seemingly they're linked because Curled Ghislaine is linked to whatever the younger
Mianus.
darkness.
I don't understand.
No, that's Shadow. I think it's Russian.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Rashawn?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then Cirque is light. Something like that. Yeah.
That's right. Sky or light, something like that.
Oh yeah, what I was gonna say was that that Draconis, like he had other motives too, like when he was making his sword, he consciously was like, well, I need to make something, like in the prologue, after Kalor cursed him, he was like, okay, well, I'm working on this sword and I need to make something that's like, that the death is not permanent because it's going to be used against me. I mean, that's the implication.
How did he know? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see.
Right, because Kalor cursed him.
Yeah.
And he was working on the sword that no one knew about.
So do you think
he was like,
why?
I wonder, like maybe that's all an excuse, and he was just like, this is a pretty decent idea, and maybe this would like help counteract chaos, I don't know. He's very mysterious. Hard to say.
I'm really hoping that the the Carcanus trilogy picks up some of this. Carl, hide your face. But yeah, I'm very hopeful that some of this gets answered in those books, because that would be covering this like time frame. And by the way, I did just look it up. Rashawn is the human darkness. Mianus is shadows and illusions.
Yes.
So that's why I got mixed up.
And then Cirque is light, I believe. What's Elder Shadow? Curled Emerlon? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have Ghislaine, Emerlon, and Leosan.
Yeah.
For like the Elder Shadow, Light, and Darkness.
That sounds right. I do really enjoy that, just in like a very superficial nerdy level, that the big kind of three elements that the series focuses on. I mean, there is like we see fire and ice and dust and animals and different like kind of elemental approaches, but like the really big three that we focus on are darkness, shadow, and light.
I love it, and also that the people's skin corresponds to like we have black, white, and the gray people as the initial races that came to us from Mother Dark. Really cool.
I guess this leads into
what Mirka was talking about.
Yeah.
Didn't you want to talk about Shadow?
Yeah, right. So what Baran discovers or realizes is that, okay, Mianas is not the true Shadow, and the throne of Mianas is not the true throne of Shadow. It's just like a gatekeep or like a guardian sub-warren of the main warren.
Yeah.
And I think he's himself is wondering, like, does Shadow Throne, aka Kellanwet, know that this is the case and that he's actually not the Lord of Shadow that he thinks he is, and that there is an actual true throne somewhere and he's not on it, he's on the other one. And yeah, I thought about it and I'm not sure if he knows. What do you guys think?
Well, I would ask, does it, well, I don't know, this is just me. Does it matter? Like, he's still a god. Like,
I think it matters to him.
I think, but do you think the fact that there is a throne even higher? I could see that. I honestly could see Kellanwet caring.
You would be pissed, I think.
He would be so pissed. Yeah, if he knows he is not happy about it. Are you kidding me? Yeah, he like, being emperor wasn't enough for him, so he had to become a god. Like, if he finds out that there's even like a higher level of godhood, oh yeah.
And before he became a god, he already had one of the thrones. He had the Planimas throne.
That's right.
Right? And that was still not enough. He wanted the big throne that will make him a god and make him ascend.
Mm-hmm.
So what
how can there be...
Sorry, go ahead.
Right, I'm just wondering, like, what's this second throne? What's the deal with that? Who had it? Who is it free now, unoccupied? Tista and Andy are guarding it for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting implications there. I definitely.
Yeah, so we learn about where it is Drift of Ali, and I think they tell us it's like a island that moves around, which I thought was, like drifts around. I thought that was just cool, like from a world building perspective. And then and it's a bunch of Tisti Andy that are guarding it, which should raise an eyebrow because those are sons of darkness, not shadow. And in fact, I believe they're even linked to Animander Rake in what we hear. I don't think it really gets into too much, but it just says like they're sons of Rake or something.
Yeah.
But all of that is very intriguing. It makes me want to like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah, Dan, Steve, do you have any thoughts about all these? All this world building we get dropped on us?
It's happening.
Okay. Well,
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
Most of it, I'm just here and it's just coming up to me. I'm like, okay, I'll just accept it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was looking here, and this is the part where we do learn that there is a Tisti Edor out there that is called the Tyrant of Pain, Deliverer of the Midnight Tides, and he wants to destroy Mother Dark. So maybe there's another bad out there. We're almost done with the Panian Seer. We got to set up our next big bad, I guess.
That's true.
And the name of the 5th book.
Yeah. I find it funny every time they're like big mention. It's like, oh shit, it's this book, it's that book. It's like in the movies.
These books are really big about dropping name drops like that.
It feels like they're, in the movies when they say that, like, it looks into the camera and then says the name of a movie. It kind of feels like that.
right.
I bet it was fun though if you were reading during when they were being published and the next book was released and you saw the title, like I remember that. That'd be neat if you remember
Absolutely.
one phrase in a 1,000-page book. But
Yeah.
still,
I
it's
had
a nice
no
treat.
idea there were any test eater in this book. I did not remember that, let alone that little
I
line.
remember the dead one, which we haven't talked about, I don't think. But that was it. That was all I remembered as far as Tisuter in this book.
Are there ones in the previous book, Tristator? I don't remember. Ones on Veslanda?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Mhm.
Who?
Big,
On the ship.
yeah, the guys on the ship.
Yeah.
That
You don't
has
remember
On the they sent
Oh,
on the headless
Some of
ones, right?
Some of them were test eater, right? Because most of them were testandi. The ones with the headless ones were the
Yeah, the ones
testandi.
in the captains.
Yeah.
Thing were
They're both,
Tristator
yeah.
something.
Okay.
There was one? Okay.
Yeah, I think that is where I really sometimes struggle with like the timeline, because like, okay, they were already tested either on the Cylanda, so now that throne in this chapter told us they are seafaring, they are trying to find the throne, so probably those are the either that were trying to find the throne, maybe, and then like everything described here, like maybe it relates to Midnight Tide's book, right? Which is like book number 5, that is already happening now, so to speak. It gets really tangled, and I love it.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, there may be some timeline issues here. I don't know. We'll talk about them when we get to them. I'm not sure.
Midnight Tides is
But-
definitely like before all this. That much I'm sure
Yes.
about. But
Well, and then
beyond that,
well, in book 4, I don't want to get into it, but yeah, part of it's some timelines in it too.
Also, like a small connection between like book number 2 and number 3 was the munition box being sent between the continents. I like that, Erikson kept it consistent and mentioned it here as well.
I guess, are we gonna see what they send to what's his name, the Wiccan commander? Like, because Dudek sent something to him, right?
Coltane?
we saw.
Yeah, Coltane didn't.
Yeah.
Listen, Dudek. Yeah, I wonder if it's
It wasn't a
gonna be relevant.
mystery.
I don't remember.
It was like
supplies,
supplies,
right?
Yeah, it's
No,
just supplies to like
he
keep them
sends
alive.
like some vial or something, right? Or was it quick bang?
Oh, yes.
Well,
Yes.
I thought that was
yes, that was a thing.
Darujistan alchemists,
yes.
and
That
Krab
was
did
correct.
all that.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
that is a
Did
thing.
we see that
You're right
in
about
this
that.
book?
We
Did they go back to that vial at all?
no. We haven't seen the
Okay,
payoff
I didn't
of
think
that
so.
yet. No, you're right. You're right,
No.
Dan. That is a thing. Yep.
Yeah, I was wondering if we were gonna see it again, if it's gonna be
Yes, you
interesting or relevant. I don't remember.
That is a thing.
Okay.
That does matter. Yes.
Yeah.
Talking about something that I don't know if it matters or not, but I love is we're like properly introduced to the Mott Irregulars here, and that should have been the thing I wanted to talk about. I just forgot about them. I love that whole scene. What is that character's name? But when he's just talking, like he's this like redneck. I mean, they're like all like just like rednecks, like
hillbillies,
forest rednecks,
Yeah.
who outfought the Malazans and then joined them or joined Brood and then now have teamed up with the Malazans, and it's just so funny.
High Marshal Straw. High Marshal Straw.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, and they were these were just farmers, I guess, that the Malazans kind of pushed out and they didn't think anything of. Just kind of, I'm sorry, they did. They went in to wipe them out because they didn't want enemies behind them. But like they fought back and managed to turn like what was supposed to be like a weekend adventure into like months and months in the woods. And I love the Mott Irregulars.
Little fun fact: Erikson and Esselmont, I think the first thing they wrote for the Malazan world, like after all the gaming, was something blues. Black Forest Blues, Black Dog Blues, something like that. It was a movie script. I think this was even before the Gardens of the Moon movie script that they wrote, which was about this conflict with the Mott Irregulars and the
Really?
Malazan Empire.
Mhm.
And so I don't know if they also gamed it or if they just wrote that movie script. As far as I know, it's never been released. Maybe they don't even have it anymore. But yeah, little fun fact about that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Add it
Black
to the
Dog
list of
Blues,
questions.
which because it's Black Dog Forest. Yeah.
We really need to start a
Nice.
new list of questions. So we
Yeah,
taught Erikson again.
absolutely. That's true. Yes, we need to get that going. Ping him. The time is nigh. What else? What else happens here?
One more thing about Mott Irregulars. I thought it was really funny that they get introduced when Stony is like, I wish I had normal friends, and then she points to this guy, and it's this sergeant. Also, I'm listening to the audiobook, and in the audiobook, this guy has a Scottish accent, and I love it. It just like fits so well.
That's awesome. Oh, that is great. I love. There's a lot of great lines. I mean, Stani and the three, her, Itkovian, and Gruntle have such a great dynamic. I love when she calls out the Straw's big nose, and Gruntle's like, she's just like a dick to everyone. Like, don't mind it. And she says, no, it's a compliment. Like, they say about like big noses, it's just like big hands.
Yeah.
And
That's funny.
it's just so good, so good.
I like the contrast between like the High Marshal, which is like acting stupid, but he's kind of smart and he's getting more information, as compared to Stony, in which it's like she doesn't understand figures of speech. Everything is surface level, right? It's like the opposite of him, basically. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, there's so much good. It's just hilarious dialogue there. Picker and Blend also have some great stuff. I know in chapter 22.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Also, I wanted to say Mott Irregulars don't like Kalor, so,
That's how you know. Can't trust them.
Yes.
The Mott Irregulars don't like them.
I trust them all the way, yeah.
I mean, maybe that's what we can talk about, which is the unless, did we already talk about that, or was that before we started recording? The like little yeah, it was before we started recording. That Kalor first picks a fight with the Tista Andi, and Orfuntal in particular is like, I'm gonna find you after this and kill you. And then Kalor goes up to Brood afterwards and convinces Brood to let him go fight with Whiskey Jack and Corlat, which can only be a good idea and end well, right? So
right.
I don't understand why they always bully Kalor. Every discussion, everyone is always bullying Kalor.
He never did anything wrong. You're right.
It's like they know he's evil, but they don't. Or do they? I don't know.
No, they do. That's the whole thing. Is like they know. That's why they make fun of him, but they continue to just like keep him around.
I don't know. Anyways.
So weird.
Oh no, to Dan Freeze.
Don't tell me that. Yeah, exactly. Don't tell me that the Kaladin Brood doesn't know that there is something going on. Like there is a reason why he wants to go ahead. Come on.
For sure. They all hate him. I mean, and why not? Because he sucks. He's mean to everyone. He wants to kill children. He's just not a pleasant guy. No, I love Kalor. He's a right, children. He's a fun. He's fun to have around, and I don't really understand why no one does anything about him, but it is what it is. They can't kill him, I guess. He's been cursed to not die, so that's something.
I'm pretty sure Kalor Brood could kill him. He said so. He says so, right?
I mean, he says that. I don't know. Kalor's curse, though, is to not die. It's to just fail at everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, not just not die, but never ascend. Like he can't die. Also,
right.
He's going to be mortal forever. He can never attain more than that.
But I think he can die because, like we've seen before, that he has to get these candles to survive. So I think if he doesn't get these candles, he's gonna die at some point.
Oh,
right?
the candles keep him young. They don't keep him alive. Because the part of the curse was that he will live forever, but without staying young. That he will also feel the effects of age. So
I
the
see.
candle is, I think,
Oh,
keep
okay.
him young. And
So we just become
I don't
like
know if I picked up on that either. Okay.
They need to like bury this dude 6 feet underground and just like let him rot.
That would
I
be
don't
the
know.
worst.
Like
he's
at a
just gonna
certain point.
crawl his way out like that Kachain Jamal mate.
Oh God, you're right. No, you're right. I mean that is like, if he can't die, something's gonna happen eventually, and he'll get let out and become, somebody's problem.
I mean, his brain would get destroyed though. Like, I don't know. How can his brain even survive if he was stuck
Magic,
underground
dude.
for like 1,000, like even a year? It's like, how is it? I mean, they did experiments with people, I think, or something. They just put it in a room and be like, how long can you stay in the room or something? It's not that long with nothing. Like,
Well, yeah,
you do
he would go
insane.
even crazier, but like, that's somebody's problem in the future. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I
Did-
think at some point, like, your brain doesn't work anymore. Like, it's completely broken.
Maybe Kaladin Brood is just like, I hate having you around. Go be someone else's problem for a while.
Maybe.
Like they can deal with you. They can babysit you. I need
not
a break.
Bad take on it, yeah.
It's like dad's tired. The kids can go to their grandparents' house. Like, no more.
But he did follow his advice before about not rushing, I guess, right? To help the Malazan. So
I think he does have like a legitimate argument, Kalor's, that he like actually knows how to fight and like be a general, but
His motives are suspect. Did you guys already talk about how he's going there only because he thinks he'll find Tilanamas there?
I assume he said before he convinced Brood to not rush so that he could go alone, right?
Oh,
Like that was his plan.
I think he decided. So the scene in which he goes to Brood and says, "Hey, why don't you let me go first and guide them?" He notices the river flowing upriver, and he says, "Oh, you are with us from dust to mud or something like that." And I think he that's him noticing that the Tilanamas are sort of traveling with them, and he wants to get there first so he can get his vendetta on Silver Fox.
that's a good catch. I did not catch that. No,
Oh, me neither. I
my
thought
brain went somewhere else.
it was a whole plan. Like he convinced Brood to not rush, so then he would be able to go ahead and not be, I guess, policed by Brood and do his own thing. That's what I thought, but that's a good catch.
Yeah, I think it was a spur of the moment decision, definitely based on the river flowing upwards. And at the time, I wasn't sure, but the dust to mud thing, I think, makes it pretty clear it's the Tilanamas he's talking about.
True.
And he was promised a shot on Silver Fox by the crippled god, right? So he wants to go and be there when there is a chance for that.
And we still don't know why he wants that, right?
To get a night
Sorry?
chill?
Yeah, it's Night Chill.
Just to get night chill.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Except I don't know if
Dude
the
holds a grudge.
Sorry, yeah. I was gonna say, is that the only reason why, or did he have a long-standing enmity even before the whole curse business?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
We're not really given that implication in the prologue.
So what?
Okay.
Wait, which ones are the other people? It's like Night Chill,
Draconis, and Cruel.
Cruel. Okay.
So, I think this was last week, right? When when Cruel announces himself at the table and Kalor's like, "I'm gonna kill you now." He doesn't seem to be similarly angry at Cruel though, as much as he is at Night Chill.
So is the fact that he's allying with the crippled god to poison Cruel, is that also part of it? Like his vengeance towards Cruel?
Oh, maybe.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it, but maybe. Like I can see now, maybe that's his whole motivation, just getting vengeance on these three people. That would justify a lot of things actually that happened.
He did not ally with the crippled god, though. Like, he distinctly said no.
Wait, I thought he agreed with the guy.
He's
I
his
thought
high king or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he, like, he was like, why would I... okay, maybe I'm completely misremembering that scene.
Some
But I thought it literally ended with him like telling the guy to fuck off, and
No, I think he
I
said
remember
like,
him
I don't want to bend
accepting.
the knee, but then the other guy says, oh, in the House of Chain, everyone can do whatever they want, sort of like the crippled god's not the head, like you're gonna be the head, sort of, I guess, because you're gonna be the king of the House of Chains. And then he says, yes, that's what I thought happened.
I thought he said
I
yes.
think
Yeah.
he accepted the position, and I always wondered, does not like
okay.
Paran as the master of the deck, doesn't he know about that? Like, wouldn't he tell the army and like the commanders that this happened? Maybe that like supports your understanding of it, Carl, that he is actually not allied with crippled god, but I think he is.
Well, the House of Chains is not part of the deck yet, so I don't know if Paran would be able to sense
Oh,
that.
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
that it's been officially made a part of the
Not
deck
yet.
yet. Okay, no, he did. According to the wiki, at least, he did agree to it. I don't know why I thought.
You
Okay,
you may be thinking of, was it Brucalion who told the guy to F off, and the same guy I think went
I
to
do
Kalor.
remember that scene,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I had it in my mind. I mean, maybe clearly I just read that too quickly.
He does object initially, though, because he doesn't want
Yeah,
to
I
be
guess that's what I
in the service of
latched
someone
onto.
else.
Right.
Yeah.
Guess the only thing left on our list is Hetten and Krupp, unless you guys talked about that while I was going.
No.
Right, let's do it.
Greatest couple. I just think those scenes are hysterical. It's such a great turnaround. Like the payoff is so funny that like after Hitan goes through all these men and like breaks them all, and then fucking Krupp, like it's peak comedy.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he's so apparently insatiable that even she like can't keep up. It's crazy. It's so
Well,
funny.
at first she shut him up for like 2 days, and he was like, I guess, surprised. But then he started liking it, and now she's surprised. It's so funny.
Oh yeah, I love his comments about like the like horrible things that the mule has witnessed. That like it can't help but feel tired, and it's crazy. It's so funny.
I just
I'm
don't
sad Steve is
want
not here to talk about how much Krupp is the greatest.
the images that come into my head every time any of this is mentioned. I don't want them. I hate it. I don't want to think about it.
I mean, he talks
Peak
about
Yeah,
fiction.
you also
Garfield.
picture Krupp much smaller than her, like half her
Oh.
size or something.
No, I picture that
Yeah.
Height wise, yeah, probably.
volume
Yeah.
size. I picture them similar.
He's described as cherub, so he's like short and very, very round.
Right, but short, and
Yeah.
she's, I think, tall and
Oh yeah,
muscular.
Amazonian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Krupp is he's the best. Every scene he's in is better for him in it monologuing, and his alliteration, peak fiction.
Oh.
That's romance right there. That's what that is.
Oh,
I
that's
was going to
Oh,
ask
that
you,
you like.
actually. I wanted to have this conversation because these two chapters, going back to the other couple, Corlad and Whiskey Jack, there is a lot of like they don't have conversations together, but like they think about each other and describe each other and like talk about each other to other people, and I think it's really beautifully written. And Corlad being distracted from the strategy meeting because she thinks about Whiskey Jack, and then Whiskey Jack kind of hoping that they can have a future together. I think, do you guys did it change your mind a little bit about like the romance between them, or not at all? Okay.
It's too early. It's too early. It's only been a couple of months. I'm like, if it's been, I don't know, if they were together at they met in the first book, and then it's been a while, and now they're feeling like this way, and be like, oh, we'll be together forever. I'm like, okay, sure.
Okay.
It
So
feels
you
too quick.
think?
So the one who's deciding to quote unquote make sacrifices, I don't think sacrifice, like just change the way she lives, is Corlat, right? It's not Whiskey Jack. And I would imagine that it's because her lifespan is so much longer compared to Whiskey Jack. She'd want to make the most of it and most of whatever time Whiskey Jack has. And so it seems reasonable to me that she would do that, taking that into account.
It's
Normal
a little
human
different
lifespans,
now,
I agree
though.
with you. But
I thought actually some of the more interesting writing was Corlat's internal conflict now that she thinks Rake may be dead or just gone forever, and that she'll have to take over, and she hopes Whiskey Jack will stick around with her, knowing that he wants to retire and live a quiet life. Like I thought that was an interesting development, and we'll have to see what comes of it.
I just thought that, again, because she was so old, I didn't think about it the way you said, which is also reasonable. I just thought that because she was so old, she would have more experience and she would be more mature about these things, about being like, not being sort of like as much a teenager in love, sort of, as sometimes she seems. You know what I mean?
But isn't that the more reason that, like, after like thousands of years, she finally found someone who she loves, and like she just fell for him without hesitation and just without compromise? I don't know. I think that's really awesome, and I buy it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's sort of, she's old, much older, and she'd probably take longer to decide. But also, and I think we talked about this with regard to the friendship between Whiskey Jack and Rake too. I feel like sometimes you just know, and I don't mean that in the love at first sight kind of way. I mean, when you talk to people, you get a sense of the kinds of things they believe in and whatnot. And like, if it works, then you do whatever you need to get closer, right? If it's not like a huge sacrifice, like right now she's contemplating basically abandoning her people, right? And that's because she doesn't want to leave them to despair. She realizes what Rick has been doing for them with like she's trying to find a common theme with all the conflicts that he leads them into, and we know from book 1 that he's just doing that so they don't all want to just go jump off a cliff. So she has to take that responsibility now, and now she can't choose love over that. But everything else might seem like a small change to her, given again her lifespan.
I don't know, maybe I'm too pragmatic, and I'm be like, you need to be realistic, and you need to be, be like, know someone for a while and stuff like that. I don't know. It's kind of like, it's very different, but I don't know if anyone has seen the reality show. What is it called? Love is Blind or something?
No.
Where they like.
I know of it.
Yeah, they basically talk to each other and they don't see each other, and then after, I don't know, like a week or something, they decide if they want to get married or not. Basically, it's a reality show, and like my wife watched it, and like the whole time I was like saying, I don't believe any of these feelings are real, because you need like at least several months of knowing someone and in different situations and slowly grow to appreciate them to actually be in a reasonable position to marry someone, obviously. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a bit like that to me.
Yeah, no, that makes
sense.
sense.
The feelings are real, but they're not. The question is, will they last?
Yeah, but not realistic.
And the answer
that's what
is
I mean.
no. Yeah, not realistic. Yeah, I would agree with. Right. Yeah.
Like, you can feel these feelings, they're just, I don't know, you're caught in the moment, maybe.
Yeah, like there's two ways to get to know someone, right? And I haven't watched that show, so I don't know how much they get to know each other. But one is just what they tell you about themselves, but also the other is how they are around other people, which both of our characters here have had ample opportunity to observe and get to know. So I don't know, I might be a bit of an idealist here, but it feels like there are some things that you just sort of know. And anyway.
I just don't believe in love at first sight, or like
Not
the
love
first
at
3
first
times.
sight. That one I don't like either.
You need dozens of times, I guess. That's my opinion.
I think for me, it just comes down to the build-up wasn't there for me. I didn't get invested in the pre-relationship, and so the relationship I'm having a hard time like emotionally connecting to.
Okay, yeah, fair. I think we said that before. I was just wondering if like maybe these new scenes where those feelings are described again have done something. No, okay.
We'll
Your
never
heart is
admit I'm
cold.
wrong.
Yeah, not a heart of stone.
I like
that's
that comedy.
I'm too proud to admit I'm wrong.
No, it's
Well,
okay,
it will
Dan.
hurt, I think,
We're right.
next week
We're
or
right.
2 weeks from
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're right.
Is there anything we've missed?
Oh man.
The Moranth and their backstory, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Who?
I think Shannon had that, right? Or
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So
yes.
yeah, not a whole awful lot, but I thought it was really interesting. So first we start off with that epigraph in chapter 23, which kind of like makes us think that maybe Twist is like the greatest hero in the Malazan world. We just don't know anything about him. We're just meeting him here at the end of his life, I guess. But and then it dives into the history between the Bargast and the Moranth, and we learn their connection, which is they're both kind of descendants of Imass, and then all because of and you guys can help me kind of understand this. So because the Moranth were willing to forgive the Tisti Eater, like willing to not see them as just enemies and to be wiped out, the Bargast labeled them as enemies for that.
I'm not sure. Was there anything to forgive? I think they just didn't fight them simply, right?
They just didn't.
Was there some?
Yeah, for some reason they were going after them, and and that's another thing. I'm kind of wondering why, because we know they're descendants of the Imass, which we know, of course, were after the Jag Hut. So did at some point they decide to go after Tisti Eater instead? Or maybe after the Jag Hut were more or less wiped out? They were like, hey, these guys are blue. We can go kill them now.
I mean, but these and mask
Or
might.
gray. Now, I keep thinking they're blue. They're gray. Damn it.
But I guess not all the masks took part in the ritual, because I guess these guys didn't, because they ended up evolving into the Bargast, right?
Yeah.
There's probably just only certain amount of them, only certain clans, maybe, right?
Well, I guess I mean, I would say, we're dealing with, I guess, probably hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, of change, of growth. So, I mean, the Imass, some of them intermingled with other species, and I think we've been told they kind of, some of them went off to become other stuff. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly, but specifically here, I guess on this continent, they were all Imass, and they were all kind of together, and then, there was a split between the Moranth and the Bargast, where the Moranth, wouldn't fight the Tisti Eater because they seemed kind of pathetic, I guess, and weak, and that made them, which then that brings up the, I thought, really interesting kind of spiritual fight, I guess, that Twist is having in his mind, which is, because he brings it up to Pear, and he's like, did you bless the Bargast gods? Because he doesn't know what is, are they going to accept him? Are they, are these gods, are they going to treat him like the Bargast and an enemy, or are they going to accept him as his people, as part of their people? So all of it I just found really interesting.
Yeah. Sorry, one thing. Do we know why... what's his name? You just said his name. The guy, the famous guy. Why he's dying?
Twist.
Yeah, Twist. Where did he get his sickness? What happened there?
I think it was...
I don't think it's told us.
But I don't remember. You think it wasn't? Okay.
I'm not sure.
Is it relevant? Is it important? It feels like it's important. I don't know. He seems like an important character, somewhat.
He is like the main Moranth, so in that regards, he's definitely.
Yeah, he's treated as more or less the liaison between the Moranth and the Malazan, so in that way he is. But also that, like I was saying, the epigraph at the beginning of the chapter kind of goes on and on, like painting him as being this amazing hero that just nothing's written about.
Yeah. Which is why I'm thinking, like, it can't be just a normal illness. There must be something special about it, or something relevant plot-wise. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I missed something.
But also, I think the main series doesn't have any explanation on how the alliance between Malazan Empire and the Moranth has started. Or do we know that?
No.
It's just very broadly described in Gardens of the Moon that, yeah, they allied and got their munitions, and it changed their military forever.
Like, what are the Moranth gaining from this? I guess we don't know.
Not getting conquered?
I don't know.
Maybe? I don't know.
I think the other interesting thing about the Moranth Bargast separation or split is the I guess the unchangeability of the Bargast, or like their refusal to change, and the extremely flexible and adaptable nature of the Moranth. Like they adapted to anything and any that came along, and they've survived. We don't necessarily. I think I like that we're not told that one did better than the other. They're just different and they fared differently.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose in the one case they have advanced technology, which also includes mass destruction weapons. So we don't. It's arguable whether they did better than the Bargast or not.
I think that's what Twist said. Like, they accepted other cultures and they evolved, and even their enemies and learned from other people. What the Bargast stagnated because they were stubborn and refused to change anything, right?
Yeah.
That is interesting.
I think
the common through line we see with a lot of the cultures here.
Yeah, I think Dan is a very good question of what was in it for the Moranth, because we do see that the Malazans got their munitions. Like they got all they got the creation of the sappers and all of that. So I mean, clearly the Moranth got something. I don't think they've told us. But yeah, that's really interesting to kind of look at them like that. That the Bargast are very insular and reject other people, and they're basically painted as barbarians. And then the Moranth, yeah, they're kind of more accepting of other people, of other ideas, and they're growing and they're learning, and yeah, they have access to technology that's even above the Malazans.
Mm-hmm.
Which would lead credit to what Whiskey Jack said about diversity bringing good things,
innovation, wisdom,
wisdom, and all that. Yep.
I thought also there must be some plot relevance to the Tristandi, right? That were with the Bargas, with the Flying Mass at that point. Like, there must be some plot point or something relevant later on. I don't know how relevant, but maybe minorly relevant. And be like, oh, these are the people that were there, or this is what happened there because the Tristandi were there. That's, I don't know. I got that impression, but I don't know what it could be.
Tristandi were where? Sorry.
Where, because they basically, these Planet Mass went where the Tristandi had their city or something. And then the Tristandi died out or left or something, right? Isn't that what happened?
Wait, Tistidor,
I thought the Tistidor had just landed. They were just in the forest there. Like,
yeah, but
they were seafarers,
right?
I don't remember specifically talking about that, but I'm not sure. Could be wrong.
Okay.
Could not remember.
The Tistidor are not there anymore, right? Like, they're gone.
No. Yeah, they're long gone by the time we're at now.
Okay. I don't know, but I feel like there must be something connected with Tristidor disappearing or going away in some other book. I don't know. That's what it feels to me. I might be wrong.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows, actually.
No one actually knows.
I don't think so.
Anything else? Any final topics, or are we ready for quotes?
Oh man, I don't have my book. We'll just do quotes from everybody.
Varsha. Come on.
Oh wait, but I highlighted some. Let me see if I can find my highlights. I read some of this
Yeah, I
in the
like
Kindle.
Twist's quote. You know, like if they were people that would write things, and then they would have written a lot if they were people that wrote things.
I have no quotes. I read this too long ago.
Oh, I found one. I think Hetan giving Krupp some, I don't want to say gyan, some knowledge about the donkey that that Krupp is riding. Settle in that saddle as if it was a horse, for it believes itself to be so. It notes how everyone else rides, notes how the horses carry their charges. Its eyes never rest. Have you not noticed? I love that. A mule that thinks it's a horse.
Is the mule? There's something suspicious about the mule, right? Isn't there? I don't know. It feels like there's something. Is it maybe is Cruel seeing through his eyes or something? There must be something like that. I don't know. It feels like it.
I think the
I don't know, Dan.
Erikson definitely wants us to think that, but maybe it's just a mule. I don't know. I feel like it's like the joke that he's pulling on us.
There's so many suspicious references in different scenes about the mule being there looking and doing things. I don't know. I'm very suspicious.
I think with Krupp, that's wise.
Yeah.
Nothing is as it seems.
Yeah.
A good quote, I don't know how it is exactly, but it's a classic of the series, I think, is when Kalor talks about how he commanded armies and walked continents and ruled empires, and asks, what does that tell you, Caladan Brood? And he's like, it tells me you'll never learn.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Yeah.
I had that one written down. Yeah.
That was an epigraph in Gardens of the Moon. I
knew I'd heard that before.
Yeah.
Was it? Oh.
Yeah, I thought I'd
couldn't
heard
remember where it was.
Yeah. I thought I saw it in an actual section of the book, like not as an epigraph. And it turns out this is where it was, but it was also an epigraph in Gardens of the Moon.
Oh. Okay.
The more you know.
Or was it in Dead House Gates? One of those. But this quote was an
I think
epigraph.
it was Memories of Ice, or I think it was Gardens of the Moon, and I think it might have been attributed to Herschel, the Outrider, who was here when this happened, I believe. So we might have just
that
seen
makes so much sense. Yeah, he
that.
is like at that scene. That's true.
Yeah. Because there is a section in Dead House Gates. Was it Kalam who realizes that Kalor is with Quickben and Co. and he starts to worry about what's going on with them?
Yeah.
And I think that was the section where we got this epigraph. That's cool. I like that callback.
Yeah. And it was a great burn too. Just
Yeah.
we'll
never learn.
And he continued with his burns in like saying, you haven't faced the big guys, Kalor, like you haven't faced Anamandare, you haven't faced Segula the first. It was just like so mean to him there. I love it.
You've always failed.
I think he's done decent.
I think it was a sick burn, but also I think it was maybe, Erikson, like he clearly says twice, we've said it, he wants to get this idea across. Like this is maybe the folly of Kalor. This is the problem with Kalor. He never learns. He just keeps doing what he's doing and failing.
Does he even have any choice, given the curse he has?
Yeah. There was, sorry, shifting gears a little bit because I was scanning through my highlights. Stony and Gruntle. I think Gruntle tells Itkovian that you should have grabbed hold of Buke and embraced him, right? And Itkovian tells him that the current shield anvil of the Grey Swords, she did that to Anaster, and he's nothing but a shell now because he was the entirety of his pain. And then he throws the question back to Gruntle about whether he would, if that was what he wanted for his friend. I thought that was a really interesting discussion about like if that's the entirety of your identity, if the pain is all you are you doing the person a favor by taking it away?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I agree, because I think we think about it, Cobain's embrace and all that as a positive thing. Like, he's going to take your pain away, you're going to feel better. But there are cases when it can be destructive entirely.
I did
And
think
now he
it
has
was.
to.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, he's a time bomb. I mean, that's the last like revelation we have, is that he has so much pain inside him right now, and he has to find some way to redeem it.
And he doesn't have a god,
clearly he doesn't.
right, to
Yeah,
leverage his strength. But I think that's what he says, right?
right, because it would hurt them. I think, I mean, there's definitely the implication he thinks he's not going to survive it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also crazy how, like, even with all that pain, all that burden, he still like makes jokes with Gruntle and, you know, exists like a normal person.
I love it,
Like,
Kobe.
where is that pain then? Like, how is he keeping it in? That's
It's a metaphor for
And
depression.
yeah.
Oh wow, yeah,
Could be.
Could be.
yeah,
Or grief.
Yeah.
grief.
Yeah, I mean, I love his mixed feelings about seeing the gray swords, that he's the outcast now. You know, it's like, I mean, in some way, it's like parenthood. You know, it's like they're as he calls them, his legacy, but they've kind of grown past him, and he is no longer part of them. You know, it's just very tragic, and yeah, I mean, part of why it's so tragic is that he's proud of them. He has these mixed feelings. It's he's just such a good character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I and I love all these. Okay, we'll talk about that later when we get to chapter 24. We'll get there.
Next week.
Yes, we will. Any other quotes?
No, ma'am.
All
I'm
right.
No
good.
adjunct, sir.
All right, then I think we'll wrap up there. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week with chapter 24. And once again, our schedule is going to be chapter 24 next week, the rest of the book the week after. We'll do a full spoiler discussion after that. And then Blood Follows will be our next book. And yeah, thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Bye.